Welcome to Magic Hour. I'm your host, Paul Chappell. Today we are reviewing Tesla, a film by director Michael Almerda and starring Ethan Hawke as Nikola Tesla, Eve Hewson as Ann Morgan, Kyle MacLachlan as Thomas Edison. Okay, this is going to be a very difficult movie for me to review. It was one of those art house films. It's very esoteric. And here's the problem with the subject matter. It's hard to do a movie about inventors because so many of them are introverts and everything that we know about them happened in their head. A lot of them don't really have these dynamic personalities that do well on screen. So what happens in a lot of cases is that a writer or director will take the character and they'll focus on their sex lives. A good example of this is Albert Einstein's miniseries called Genius on National Geographic. If you saw that, that miniseries had a lot of focus on Albert Einstein's sexuality, his affairs with women, all that. The problem with Nikola Tesla, though, is that from all indications, he was an asexual man. They tried to pair him off with Ann Morgan, who was the daughter of J.P. Morgan. She was a wealthy socialite, but from all indications, she was a lesbian herself. So I don't see how they could really do that, but they tried. They tried very hard to associate them, but we know, and it's just not speculation, that Nikola Tesla was asexual. He actually said in a 1927 interview that he had never touched a woman. And okay, this was 1927. He was 71 years old when he gave this interview. So it was from his own mouth that he was asexual. But they had association because later in his life, Nikola Tesla got funding from her father, J.P. Morgan, who famously would not give Tesla any more money when he was developing his Wardenclyffe Tower, which was going to be this monumental wireless transmitter. And his success was pretty much preempted by Marconi and his radio tower. So I don't know. When I first saw the trailer for this movie, I saw it was starring Ethan Hawke, which was a problem from the get. First of all, Ethan Hawke is like 5'10", and Nikola Tesla is like 6'1". Okay, not too big a difference in height, but Nikola Tesla was really skinny. He weighed like 150 pounds, and he was 6'1". We're the same height, and believe me, if I lost 50 pounds, you would not be able to see me right now. I'd be so thin. So that's the first problem. But I saw that Ethan Hawke was playing in the movie, and I was thinking, wow, they're going to make Nikola Tesla sexy. I mean, why else would they choose Ethan Hawke, right? I said, my wife would even want to see this movie. So yeah, I sat down with my wife and watched the movie. And within like 15 minutes, my wife was looking over me with that, what the hell have you gotten me into look? And she was, of course, right. This movie had a lot of problems, but like I said, it's going to be hard for me to review because it was purposely esoteric. It only had a $5 million budget, and it showed in a lot of places. There was a scene when he was in Colorado doing his experiments, and it obviously was made to look like he was in some kind of cheap studio with the back canvas was just a picture of Colorado. I mean, it was, as far as special effects goes, it was one of the worst movies I've seen in a long time. So going knowing that you're not going to, if you want to see some kind of mind trip like 2001 A Space Odyssey, where we go inside Nikola Tesla's mind and we see what he was thinking, because they did that in the Albert Einstein miniseries. We're not going to get that with this movie. It's not that type of movie. Another problem with it is that, okay, as I've said, when you're making a movie about an introvert, the obvious thing you would do is to have a narration, right? So you know what the character's thinking. And usually you would do it with the character himself. They did that with this movie. The problem is the movie is narrated from Anne Morgan's point of view. And she's pretty much telling you the things that Nikola Tesla would be, the father of, like wireless communication. And of course, the only thing he really did that we can without a doubt say he invented, or not really even invented, but he made possible, was AC current or voltage, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not a scientist, so forgive me if I get any of these things wrong. So here's the plot of the movie. The plot of the movie pretty much starts with Nikola Tesla's employment with Thomas Edison. And they play up a little bit of his rivalry of Thomas Edison. But here again, they make up scenes that obviously didn't happen. In fact, they say during the narration, this did not happen. But it could have happened, which I thought was really corny. Okay, so there was a scene where famously Nikola Tesla is given some kind of challenge by Thomas Edison, and Thomas Edison says, "I'll give you $50,000 if you can figure this out." Specifically, he wanted him to redesign a generator, which he ended up doing, of course. And Thomas Edison says, "Well, I was just joking. You don't really understand American humor." So they did that scene, but in the movie, when Edison tells him he's not paying him the $50,000, Nikola Tesla jams an ice cream cone in his face. Well, that did not happen. In fact, from the research I've been able to do, ice cream cones hadn't even been invented by this time. I think it was 1896 or something. So that was one problem we had with that scene. So it's that type of movie. They had a lot of wild, crazy ideas that they try to put up on the screen. None of them particularly worked. I give this review with some reservations because I've seen movies I didn't get the first time I saw them, like the aforementioned 2001: A Space Odyssey. I had to have it explained to me, and once it was explained to me, I got a lot out of it. I don't think this is that type of movie. We followed Nikola Tesla during his association with George Westinghouse, which was where he gained most of his success in life. So that was probably the only thing I found interesting about the movie, because I didn't know of his association with George Westinghouse. Previously, his best depiction was in that film, The Prestige, where David Bowie played Tesla. And that tells you here again, to make him interesting, they had to throw a lot of science fiction elements toward the story in The Prestige. So that's an example of what you had to do to make Tesla interesting. Because, like I said, he was the type of person that lived inside his head, and he wasn't interested in women. He was a notorious germaphobe. In fact, the only real interesting thing about him, besides the stuff he invented, the patents that he had, was the fact that he had a gambling addiction. There was no real reference to his gambling addiction in this film, and I thought they could have done more of that. The latter part of Tesla's life was pretty much marked by a lot of failure. And when he died at 80, I think he was 87, he was penniless. He had ceased to make money on his patents, and he was going from hotel to hotel, leaving debt behind. But his funeral famously was attended by more than 2,000 people. So he was successful to a point, but he was overshadowed by Thomas Edison and a lot of other people during that time. But I would encourage you to read up more about him on your own. There's been many books written about him, and we know that his name has been co-opted by the Tesla Corporation and Elon Musk. So that's obviously why this movie got funding, just based on that alone, that association alone. So I don't know. That's pretty much all I got to say about it. Most of what I do think was successful about the film were related to what I felt it showed about his relationships with people like George Westinghouse, and some of the AC theory that they throw at you, most through exposition with Ann Morgan. But other than that, it really wasn't that interesting. So that's it. That's all I got for today. I'd like to thank my subscribers. Encourage you, if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Give me a like, comment, let me know what you think. And I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.